go!
Let's go.
Eagle Jacks, are you ready?
Jared Cecchetti got hired, and it just kind of redefined the level of football in which we play. And a lot of that has to do with him as a football coach, but more importantly, his connection with kids off the field and in the weight room. Our program took off to a different level when Jared Cecchetti became our strength and conditioning coach. He's a guy that certainly last year was the assistant coach of the year in the county, and I could make an argument that could be that every single year. He is just somebody who obviously does more for kids through actions than any other coach in Avon. So I can't say enough great things about Jared Cecchetti.
One thing I noticed about him is just his demeanor. He's never too high, he's never too low, and it just seems he just commands respect.
Yep.
How does he do that?
He's got an it factor to him. I mean, I identified that when he came in to interview for the job. A lot of people don't know this, but when we went to hire Jared Cecchetti, we went through a round of interviews and I didn't find someone, I had a vision for what I wanted our next PE teacher to be, not just for football, but for all of our athletes, not only as a health teacher, but also as someone in the weight room. Jared Cecchetti then came back. We didn't find anybody we wanted, so then I randomly cold called some colleges and said, hey, do you have anybody graduating who might be interested in a role like this? And called the University of Akron and happened to get a GA there who asked around the office, and that's how I got his name. And we got him to apply for our job. I loved him in the first interview, but at the time he didn't have his health certification yet, so there was some reluctance to hire him. Interviewed a third round of people, didn't find anybody I loved, and circled back to our superintendent at the time, Jim Reitenbach, and said, this is our guy. He went and took care of the classes he needed to, and we were able to hire him on a temporary certificate until he got appropriately certified in health and PE, because at the time he was just PE. I fought really hard to get Jared Cecchetti here, and it's probably one of the best decisions I made as head football coach.
As a defensive coordinator, how important is he, especially when it comes to making adjustments?
Yeah, I think Jared, the first thing he would do is tell you that is a collective effort. He's got great assistant coaches. All of them make those adjustments together. But certainly he's taken over the role of defensive coordinator and pulls all those ideas together. But on a game day, it's not just Jared, it's all of his assistants, and they do a remarkable job of making adjustments during the game. You've seen us several times where, the first drive or maybe in the second drive, something doesn't go well. And if you don't fix it, it could happen the entire game, but we're able to look at some of the film that we get, the replays we now have on the sidelines, see where the mistake is, and correct it instantly, which has really led us to playing at a championship level defensively.
You touched on the weight room, but his other big thing is nutrition. How much has that changed your program?
That's changed our program a great deal, because you can go and lift every single day, and if you're not getting the appropriate rest, if you're not putting the right things in your body, then all that's for naught. And Jared and Jason Oakes and also John Gunnell, Jeremy Goldeisen are people who are in the weight room, do a really good job of teaching our players what to eat, how much to eat, what type of food they need to put into their bodies. When kids aren't gaining appropriately, or in some cases kids who want to lose appropriately, they've even gone as far as having them send screenshots of their meals and what they're eating so they can help them meet their goals, because kids always have goals, and some kids want to gain, some kids want to lose, and they're there to assist them. So it's not just about the lifting in the weight room, it's about the nutritional piece, and that's something I think that sets us apart from other schools.
So if you could pick one trait about him that just stands out, what do you think it is?
Wow, there's so many good traits about Jared Cecchetti, and I would say the number one thing I'd say about him is that he's a mentor. Kids look up to him. I think if you ask kids holistically throughout our entire athletic program, not just football, but our entire athletic program, who's their favorite coach and why, you're going to get a lot of Jared Cecchetti responses, because he has a knack for making every kid in the weight room feel important, feel special, feel valued. And that way, when you're not meeting his expectations and he gets on you, he can, because he's invested in the kids and they know he cares. They know he loves them. They know that he wants what's best for them. He can give some tough love and feedback to kids when they need it. And again, like I said, it's not just a football thing. Avon's pretty good in everything right now. As a matter of fact, I'll go as far as saying we're really good in everything right now. And he's a big part of why.
It means a lot. It's a lot of stuff that, we put in every single year to do stuff, and the camaraderie and bringing everybody together and having that sense of, purpose to be a part of a group and really work towards a common goal is a huge part of why I like the game. and to be a part of a community. As I get older and start to understand more about, really life, how, I'm going to be, having my daughter come up through this school system and being a part of the school system and being a part of a program and, working with other people's kids and, teaching them and, having them be children to me that I can grow and, help them mature throughout life. So it means a whole lot to me and, why I do this and why I put in so much time to this program.
The entire staff always impresses me, but you most of all. You stand out because the work and the preparation that you put in to get these kids ready for a Friday night is like off the charts. Like how do you do it?
I got a lot of support from my wife. That's the first start of it. If I didn't have a wife that was very understanding, I would have a very hard time doing this. Kudos to her being really understanding. She helps me out with a lot of things, around the house and things like that, and lets me do this. But in all reality, and if you're going to do something, you got to do it right and check all the boxes. And in order to do that, we play a lot of really good teams, and we have to be ready to go. So, and a lot of times there's a lot of coffee, but it is fun. It is part of the game that I do love. The schematics, the talking with other coaches on how to scheme up somebody, and what's going to work and not work. And then on Friday nights, and when it all comes together, it is a satisfying feeling, just to see the kids, get a game plan, put it into play, and it actually work for them. Just for me, it's exciting to see them do it, and then to know that I had a piece in that is also fun. So it is motivating for me, but it's awesome to see those kids, absorb it, soak it in, and then go do it.
You're in charge of the whole defense. How big of a role is that?
It is a big role, but I got a lot of help. I got 7 guys now that are, or probably really 8 guys that are in there, in the war room that we talk about, and we are game planning. It is a lot of responsibility on me, and it is a lot of responsibility but I do have a lot of help. And I got a lot of smart coaches, that know and take ownership of their positions. So, we talk about in the game plan room, and then we come out and they're expected to translate that information to their kids and expected for their kids to be able to understand it, process it. And at the end of the day, in that room, there's a lot of good teachers. If you're a good coach, you're also a good teacher. So to me, all the coaches that I work with on the defense side of the ball are great teachers. And that definitely helps out with the job responsibility and all the things that we have to get done.
Is this a job or is this fun?
It's fun. By far, this is fun. Like, to me, it is work. There's a reason why they call it grinding, and people get paid a lot of money to do this. All right, but to me, this is why I got into teaching. I didn't get into teaching to be a teacher and have summers off. I got into teaching to mentor kids, to grow kids, to have the same thing that I had done for me, and to be a coach to kids, and to help those kids grow that my coaches helped me grow when I was that age.
You've seen the growth of Avon football in the community and in the area and in the state in the last few years. What does that mean to be a part of that?
It means a lot. We always talk about development, right? And development is everything to me, especially being the strength and conditioning coach. A lot of times you talk about our younger programs, our younger programs aren't super successful. We do a lot of split squads. They go 500s until they get to maybe their freshman year, or they go 500 even lower until they get into the varsity season. And it's all about development at that time. How do you develop kids, and how do you teach the kids to do the right things in the weight room, to do the right things at home and eating, and develop them so they're stronger, bigger, and faster. And then they get, what I always say is, they get a PhD in football, right, when they're on this team. So developing them as far as maturity, developing them as far as their strength and speed goes, and developing their football IQ is a huge thing that we always talk about and we always try to do. And you think about development, and a lot of teams will just focus on their varsity at the time, right? Well, we don't just focus on our varsities. We have JV practices with our varsity coaches. So our JVs are being coached by our varsity coaches even on Saturdays. Saturday mornings, our entire staff goes out to JV games to develop our kids.
How much of an advantage is that for this program over others?
Huge. It's everything. We talk about development and, us being there for those kids. Number one, it gives them a sense of, oh, my coach is here to watch me play. So they want to perform. And we have great kids here that don't want to let us down. They don't want to let their teammates down. So it helps them out a lot, and then every coach is coaching their butts off on Saturday mornings. And tell you what, Saturday mornings are probably the most fun I've ever, some of the funnest things I've been a part of being in this program is Saturday mornings and coaching those young guys and watching them grow and develop and it finally click for them. Like you said before, it is fun for us in Saturday mornings.
Can you think of a better gig to have?
No, no. I mean, strength coach and football coach at a high school. I always joke with Coach Elder, and he always asked me, "Are you ever leaving anybody?" I was like, "Why would I ever leave? I have the perfect job. I get to coach in the weight room all day long, and then I get to coach football. There's no better job."